Nation, what's going on? With July almost coming to an end, that means that metal and music's year is already more than half over. In fact, I'm a little bit tardy on this video. However, it's something that, well, we all need to do, and I need to do it as well. That way to let you guys know what I think some of the best and the worst albums of the half year so far have been, and give yourselves and me a little bit of a preview of what's to come. Now, I'm not going to go with any specific number like 5 or 7 or 12. I'm just going to go with a couple of the ones that come off the top of my head as some of the best. Albums such as Under Saturn Retrograde by Forgotten Tomb, The Sound of Violence by Onslaught, Ghost by Devin Townsend. In fact, both Ghost and Deconstructed were very, very good. Symphony X's new one, just to name a couple of them. Now, as for the worst, it's a little bit easier to pinpoint because, well, let's face it, there have been a lot of albums out there that have been really good this year. There have been a lot of albums out there that have been relatively average, but still passable. But there's only been a couple that have been just sheerly and totally laughable. And we're talking the new Winds of Plague album, Against the World. We're talking that Syriana, or however the hell you pronounce its album from earlier this year. Nobody really gives a fuck because it was that terrible. We have Dedicated to Chaos by Queensryche, which was arguably one of the worst albums of the decade, maybe of the century. I mean, this thing is tantamount in its just offensiveness to me and many other Queensryche fans. And the funny thing about that is that there's some Queensryche fans out there that are actually trying to defend this album. And while I understand that some people will do that, I also understand that it is a minority of fans. And don't waste your breath. That's all I'm going to say. No matter how much you attempt to defend this album, you're not going to change my mind. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. This album has just sucked since listen number 1. But then, of course, we get into two trifles on the music industry. We get the new Lady Gaga album from a couple of months ago, which most of us knew was going to be ceremoniously poor pop, but it was poor on such a grand scale. Not to mention it was also infamous for it kind of spiking its own numbers through online sales. And while it might be really nice for somebody to offer their album online for $1, it doesn't exactly help whenever the album sucks. If anything, well, the world might be better off, considering I barely sell this piece of shit. But speaking of pieces of shit, of course there's always Elude Divinium Insanus by Morbid Angel. This is an album that's notorious already amongst the metal community for its cerebral terribleness. This is an album that really just didn't even give a flying fuck what the fans thought. And, well, you have to respect a band that's willing to do that and truly be an artist and do things for themselves. But really, whenever you've been away for as long as Morbid Angel had been, forget about it. This is an album that's on Saint Anger level, and, well, let's face it, this is an album that will continue to be placed on that par and will continue to be mentioned whenever it comes to talking about terrible albums until the next one comes out. Because at least with Metallica, Death Magnetic was halfway decent, so the Saint Anger lore, well, it's still there, but it's mainly eaten up to history a little bit. So those are some of the best and worst so far this year. I'm going to add something else in there, and that's the worst song of the summer, and that's Sail by AWOL Nation, this band out there that everyone seems to be eating up. This is one of the most simplistic and dull songs out there on the radio today, and it's positively terrible. I don't understand why anybody out there could potentially like this song. If you want a song that's very simplistic yet very catchy and also is just kind of fun and actually is fun, you really want to look into Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People. That's a much better song. Not to mention, it's just everything that I just said about it being catchy, about it being fun, and about it being good. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. There's 3 perfect descriptors for that particular song. And if you're using those 3 words to describe AWOL Nation, just shoot yourself. But now, let's go look into the future. Let's look into that magical crystal ball. What do we have to look forward to? What do you guys have to look forward to from me here in the Cover Killer Nation channel? Of course, we have a new Mastodon album coming in next year. We have a new Communic album that's going to be dropping here in just some mere days. And of course, Communic was a band that formerly was my Album of the Year and Band of the Year, Rookie of the Year. Held so many ceremonious positions a couple years ago whenever their debut, Conspiracy in Mind, dropped back in 2005. So that's a big, big check mark next to my calendar. Of course, we have the Mastodon album that I already mentioned. We have a new Anthrax album. We have a new Dream Theater album coming. We have a new Opeth album. These are going to be 3 huge reviews, and you know that they will be. We have a new Machine Head album coming out. You guys have already been pouring in asks for me to, or should I say requests for me to review the opening single off of it, which I will do. There's also been rumors about a new Megadeth album. Rumors have been confirmed. Probably going to be October or November whenever that one drops. We're going to have a Tool album within the next year. A Perfect Circle is supposed to be coming out with something before the year is out. New Red Hot Chili Peppers coming out at the end of August. This is just to name a few, ladies and gentlemen. And there's still tons of more pieces of information about albums that will be coming out, pouring in day to day here at the Cover Killer Nation home office. So guys, it's been a fun half year with you guys. I've got to share some laughs. I've got to share some cries. There was that weird video where two dudes took over and the one guy had his shirt off. That was just creepy. And we're going to do it all over again for another 6-month period leading up to Album of the Year 2011. Stay with Cover Killer Nation. Tell all your friends to subscribe if they want to have the best in music and metal news right here. And thank you guys who have already subscribed.